the meat of the tongue, okay? And it's a value lesson story, stories from around the world, and this is a Swahili story, okay? So the Sultan had a beautiful wife. Isn't she beautiful? Isn't she lovely? Had this beautiful, beautiful wife, right? And he would often have to leave her in the palace and go to fight battles and conquest and get new territories. And he would come and he would bring her things, but he would go again and he would come and he would meet with his men, but didn't spend too much time talking to her. And one day he came back and she did not look like this. She looked like this. She had shriveled up. She was as frail. She was a stick. She was so skinny. Felt as if she was not nourished. And he said, I'm a king. I have all this property, all this land. I have these kingdoms. My wife has to look. Back in the day, this will be good for me. Back in the day, plump was in, okay? That meant you weren't starving, okay? So his wife, he wanted his wife to look plump and healthy. And, but she looked like this. And so one day, while he was traveling through the village, he sees this man with this plump, beautiful wife. Just happy little rosy cheeks, and she was so happy. And he marvels to the point of envy. And he says, I want my wife to look just like that. What are you doing? Why does your wife look like that? And I don't know. When I married her, she just looks like that. And she has gotten more beautiful through the years. I love her so. And he said, well, what do you feed her? He said to the Sultan, I feed her tongue meat. Tongue meat? He goes back to his palace and he finds his wife and he makes sure that the chef feeds her tongue meat. The chef says, well, what kind of meat? Tongue meat? Okay, so he gets horse tongue and cattle tongue and he feeds this to his wife and she doesn't get any bigger. They don't tell her what they're giving her to put barbecue over it. And she's got goat tongue and chicken tongue and she's not getting any bigger. So the Sultan thinks that he has been tricked and he's really angry because he has to have a big parade and promenade his new kingdom he has gotten, and his wife is now looking like this. And he did what the man said do. So he went back to the farmer and he says, okay, you tricked me because I fed my wife the meat of the tongue and she did not get any bigger and she's not happy and she's small and frail, looks like a stick. Ugh. He said, I'm going to take your wife. So he takes this man's wife and he leaves his frail wife there with the man. Sultan takes this wife away. And again, like he does, he goes out and he takes territories and kingdoms and wins battles and he promenades and he brings his wife gifts and he leaves again and he doesn't even say hello or have a conversation with her because he is so proud of himself and the people are cheering him because he's a great warrior. He has got all these kingdoms and the wife he had taken from that man starts to look like this. She's thin and she's frail and she's sullen and she's sad. He tricked me. He must have poisoned this wife before he gave her to me. So you know he had given up his wife, stole the man's wife, and the wife starts to look just like a stick. So he goes back and he says, sneak in his house and see what he's doing. So he sends one of his servants to look through the window and see what he was doing. And he looked, he says, he's not feeding her tongue meat. But the man said when he came home, hello, darling. How are you doing? Did you have a good day? You deserve to have a good day. Oh, is that the flowers oh, they're beautiful flowers, beautiful just like you. Can I tell you about my day? I went fishing, but I thought about you when I caught this fish. Isn't it nice? I thought about you. I'm so glad you're here. And she just, And she tickled, she blushed, and she was so happy. Her cheeks got so flushed, and she got, oh, you know, that built her immune system. She got so happy and healthy and wonderful, and all of a sudden, so the man looks in, the servant looks in, and he doesn't see tongue meat. He hears this, but he's not comprehended. He goes back to his king and says, I don't know what he's doing. He comes home, he talks to her, she smiles, she giggles, but they're not eating tongue meat. He said, I think he poisoned his wife. So he went and had the doctor check her blood. There's no issue with her blood. She's okay. She's just skinny. So the king goes out for himself, and he looks through the door. The sultan goes out and he looks through the door, and he looks at his wife, who was used to look like this, and she's now beautiful and radiant. And he says, and he looks through the window, and he sees what his servant sees. And he hears what his servant hears. And he hears, you are so beautiful. I love your laughter. Can you tell me about your day? I want to know all about it. I'll sit right here and listen to you. Oh, that was funny. You make me laugh. You're so beautiful. I love your eyes. And then he sang her a song, and she sang back to him. And all of a sudden, the sultan gets it. The meat of the tongue. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. He hears this man sing this song to her. And she sings back to him, I love you, I need you to survive. Because they were speaking words to encourage and build one another up. And the sultan was not only not speaking words, but when he came home, he said, look at you. You all skinny. I'm the king. You're supposed to look good. You're supposed to make me look good. Get yourself together. Put some makeup on. He was putting her down. There's a song that says, encourage one another and build each other up. Encourage one another and build each other up. So I want you to think about how our words impact the life, the day, the self-image, and sometimes the future of another. It depends on the leadership role and the relationship you have. You'll be surprised that something that teacher said still resonates in someone's head. It is important, especially as children of God, as we represent God in the earth, because in the beginning was Word, and Word was God, and Word was with God. And the Word is God, and God is love, that our words should be words that speak life. You know, when Jesus spoke, he says, the words I speak are life. Are the words you speaking life-bearing? So if you go back and tell the story, I kind of like went over it really fast, and so I didn't go about the time, all the times that he was putting her down because he didn't look like she's supposed to look. And he said, and I got married to this. So you can share that and think about it, especially as we are in this pandemic. You might have worked with someone that you said some cruel things to, and tomorrow's not promised. You won't have a chance to go back. Maybe you did some verbal bullying on a passive kind of way, a put down. Maybe you weren't feeling good about yourself, and you used them as a repository of your issues and your grief. You have an opportunity to write them a letter, send them a card, pray about it, clean that thing up. Maybe you've done so much on the phone and around people and church people, your children are starting to do that to each other. Maybe you're doing that. Maybe it's been done to you. Maybe it's time to heal, and that we may make the words of our mouth and the meditations of our heart, because out of the heart the mouth speaketh, be acceptable unto God. That he puts his words in our mouth, and we represent him in the earth. Okay, so that's one story. You can share it, you can embellish it, you can change it around, and you can discuss it with each other, your partner, your friends, your children. But I want to tell you another story now. This is another way of looking at it, and I want you to compare these two stories. One was he was speaking words over her. Now this is when words are being spoken over you and what you should think about it. Okay, so a man and his son, they are merchants, and they go into the next town to sell their wares. And they load up their stuff, and they put it on the back of the donkey. And the son says to his dad, Dad, you walk. You get on the donkey, I'll walk. He said, no, son, I'll let you get on the donkey first. So the boy gets on the donkey. The wares are on the donkey. and they start walking to the next kingdom, to the next village. Meanwhile, somebody looks at the boy on the donkey and the dad walking and said, look at that lazy boy. He just so lazy. Got his dad walking. Young man like him, he should be the one walking. And so they heard those words and it made them uncomfortable. And so they decided, well, okay, Dad, you get on. So Dad got on. And the boy was walking next to the dad and the donkey had the stuff strapped on him. And then someone says, that man is so mean. He's making his son walk while he gets on that donkey. Oh, what kind of father is he? What kind of father is he? Oh, he's an awful father. He's a mean father. He shouldn't even be a father. And they hear those words and their face starts to crack and they're feeling uncomfortable. So they think, okay, I get down, you get up. I don't know. So they both decide, well, we just won't ride the donkey. We'll just walk next to the donkey. And the donkey has the wares and the boy's on one side, the father's on one side, and they're walking to the next town. And then they hear, they so stupid. Look at them. They got a donkey and neither one of them will get on the donkey. That is stupid. Boy, they're a bunch of fools. And they heard those words and they felt kind of shame. And they decided, okay, this is it. This will please everybody. We'll both get on the donkey. So they're both on the donkey. And the donkey has the wares. And then a group of women say, look at it. He may be a beast of burden, but there's no reason that they pack all of their wares and they both get on the donkey. They're just too much of a load. Oh, these animal rights people talked about them so bad. And on the way to the next town to sell their wares, they're up and down, up and down. You're on, I'm off, you're on, I'm off. Trying to please everybody, listening to all the things coming into their ear gate and not getting anywhere. So this story is different from the last story. If you have time and you're with somebody, you can discuss the story and find some concept of life, or maybe reflect on how maybe you've listened to the words of too many people. As we prepare for Resurrection Sunday, we knew Jesus didn't hear the words. He wasn't challenged to come off the cross. He had a purpose and he had a mission. And no words, if you be, the Son of God, you should come on down. He was not baited. So how do we respond to the words that come to us? And what type of words are we giving out? I want to share this poem. And this is more connected to the first story. So if you go back, and again, I kind of went over it because the king actually puts down the wife more often. If you tell it again, you can really embellish it. But this is what I want you to think about. It says, what are you setting in motion? What are you creating? Power and death is in the life of the tongue. The power of life and death is in the tongue. So it says, what are you setting in motion? What are you creating? It is what you're speaking. What are you becoming? What are you receiving? It's what you're thinking. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. And what are you believing? And what are you seeing? It is what you are. As a man sees, so he bees. Be careful of the words you speak and the words you allow in your vicinity. When Jesus was healing, he actually moved people out of the room because he didn't want the words to impact the atmosphere. My grandmother says, you don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. You don't want too many people know about your good or your bad because you don't want them to speak on it. People think of witches as riding around on brooms, but sometimes the spirit of control and manipulation could simply be with how people are treating one another, the things they're speaking around another, and how that impacts someone's life or destiny. We should not be a stumbling block with our words. I know I've made mistakes. Maybe you have too. But as we face this time in our country when we don't know what the next day is going to bring, it's time to make amends. Think about the words you spoke. Rebuild those relationships that you can. If not, at least make amends. I hope that you enjoyed this time. Thank you for tuning in. And you see how old I am. I'm saying tuning in on on the phone. I see you out there, Mary. Hi, cousin. You're always there. And I see you, Sean, and I saw some other people. I don't see them right now, but thank you for listening. That's the name of the story was called the Tongue Meat. The name of the poem was What Are You? And I'm going to do some other things again, more lip syncing. But thank you for listening in, and I hope that blesses you. And try not to be a verbal bully, because they used to say sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Yeah, they do. They hurt. And God knows that words are so powerful, because in the beginning was the Word, and by the Word, by Christ, who was a living Word, all things exist. So speak positive things. And even though we're going, that doesn't mean lie. If I put something on that don't look good, you can tell me the truth. But you know what I'm talking about. Encourage one another and build each other up, 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 up. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Love y'all. See you, cousin Vanessa, too. Bye-bye.